I'd now like to take a minute to invite Mr. Mike Storr, a member of our high school faculty and varsity football coach, up to the podium to introduce our second student speaker.
Need just a moment after Gio there. Nicely done, nicely done. So it is my honor to introduce the next student speaker, class of 2021. I've known this young man for the last 4 years, coaching and teaching. Real quick anecdote about him. He played football for me. And when we were in a drill, I was asking him, we were asking him something about, we were looking for a certain technique. We said, what do you do in this situation where this guy is lined up here? We're looking for him to say a step left. He looked at us and he said, destroy him. That's how I want this young man to tackle the world. Every problem you come into, destroy it. So please welcome to the stage the young man I call Big E. You know him as Mr. Elijah Savage.
Yeah, there's no way this thing stays on. I have way too much hair. Well, I didn't even know I was getting an introduction. So, that's a little hard to follow, everyone. But I'm going to do my best. First of all, to everybody that's expecting me to say a certain phrase when I get up here, you all know what I'm talking about. I politely decline. All right. Well, everyone. Right now, you're probably looking up here, looking at me, and wondering one of two things. Either, I know him, but why is he our graduation speaker? Or, he still goes to our school? Believe it or not, those questions pretty much have the same answer. Over the past year, I've been struggling with severe mental illness. This is a subject that a couple years ago would be, maybe when our parents were in school, would be very hard to talk about. If I said anything related to this, I'd probably be ostracized, given weird looks and all sorts of stuff that I didn't want to happen. But now, something has changed. And I feel very confident talking about this because I know in some way or another, each and every one of you in this crowd has experienced something that I'm talking about. Whether it's something tragic and long-term, like diagnosed depression, or it's something a little bit shorter, like being so anxious about the test the next day that you debate shaving your head. Either way, it's mental illness. I've learned a lot from my struggles, and I'd like to try to leave you with something you can use in the future. So I'd like to take your next couple of minutes in my desperate attempt to be useful and tell you some lessons. Now the thing is, a lot of these are going to sound kind of generic, and you've probably heard similar stuff before, but I implore you, please actually think about what I'm saying, and don't just let it fall in one ear and out the other. So before I officially start the speech, I want to kind of outline some goals I had while thinking and writing the speech. First, although it's going to get to this point, I want to avoid subjects you've probably heard on a daily basis from a parent or therapist. My least favorite of these has always been, don't worry, other people feel the same way. I never understood how that helps. Is my reaction supposed to be, other people struggle too? Let's go! Yeah, that's not too useful. Neither is, you should just try harder. Yeah, I'm not trying hard enough. Or, just suck it up. Yeah, that helps. However, it is important to not minimalize mental illness, but to do your best to try to not fix the problems, but respond with empathy. I want to make sure that this speech isn't about me. Obviously, I'm using my own experiences as examples, but I don't want this to turn into me forcing pity for 15 minutes. However, if you do feel the urge to do something about your pity for me, I will gladly supply an address to send all gifts and flowers to. Thanks. I'm trying to walk this thin line between overgeneralization and being too personal. I don't want you to know where I sleep by the end, But I also don't want this to be a self-help seminar. Regardless, at this point, I'm rambling, and what happened to my sash? So, bear with me while I introduce my points. I've learned recently, your mistakes don't decide your life. We're going into college very soon, which some may say is the most important time in your life. We're gonna mess up pretty bad. We're gonna fail tests, we're gonna forget about papers, and some of us are gonna do some really dumb things. You all know who you are. Regardless, really, it doesn't matter. It's typical for us to hit a roadblock in our life and jump to the conclusion that this is it. You messed everything up. But remember, you really didn't. Even if you fail that test, or miss that paper, or again, do something really dumb, you know who you are. You're going to wake up tomorrow with the vast majority of your life left to fix those mistakes. Or do something else dumb. Up to you. The things you don't wake up from aren't these mistakes, but instead your reaction to these common simple scenarios are what can ruin your life. When something along the lines of what I've mentioned does occur, the most important thing is to remember this is only a tiny roadblock in your path, and as long as you respond rationally and responsibly, the impact on your life is going to be so microscopic you won't remember it in a short while. The real moral of what I'm saying is, don't blow your mistakes out of proportion. I'm not trying to minimize what sometimes seems insurmountable, only to hold on to. Life has a funny way of making sure things work out. It's our careless responses to these mistakes that make everything worse. Don't worry, you will live to see another day. Okay, we're gonna take a second, make sure everybody's awake, and we're gonna take a little poll here. Raise your hand if you've ever experienced even slight social anxiety. All right, everyone who didn't raise your hand, you are lying. And I know you are. This means you have probably asked yourself one of the following questions. Would it be weird if I talked to them? Would it be weird if they talked to me? Does this person hate me? Does this person like me? All of these are paranoid questions that deter us socially. This brings me to my next lesson. People are made to be with people. I can't tell you how many social opportunities of mine have been wasted because I think talking to someone would be awkward or weird. The thing that I didn't realize then is that people don't initially dislike you. It's an innate want or desire to make friends and be around others. You just have to embrace it. To like and be liked, to love and be loved. In a couple of months from now, we're all going to be in a new environment. We're going to be introduced to a multitude of new people, all with the potential to be a part of the rest of your lives. The only thing that's stopping you from taking advantage of this is you. I know a lot of you already know this, but I've struggled with this a lot in the past, so I'm very sure that most of you have too. The final and most important thing I want to talk about is kindness. Okay, solid 60% of you just rolled your eyes when you heard the word kindness. This is the type of thing that you probably hear this and think, why a lesson about kindness? That's the type of thing that I see on an episode of Sesame Street. Before thinking, I'm 18, why am I watching Sesame Street? I don't know, that's your problem. I'm doing my best to not make this mundane. I think we underestimate kindness far too often. Picture this. It's gonna get serious. I'm sitting up in my room at midnight crying. Nothing is worth it. I feel alone and I don't know anything I can do to make it better. And then, out of nowhere, something amazing happens. I get a text on my phone. One of my friends randomly wants to know how I'm doing and talk. To the sender of this text, it's a minimal task. However, I'm not exaggerating when I say it saves my life. People can make fun of each other. They can mess around and insult each other, and they can avoid people when they don't feel like being social. People observe this in others and think they've done something to deserve this. However, if someone reaches out to me and asks how I'm doing unprovoked, it means they're a really special kind of person, a kind person. The point here is that it takes 30 seconds to send that text. The sender doesn't lose anything by doing this, but the text has the capacity to save a life. Obviously, this isn't just about texting, it's any little act of kindness that can change someone's life. Okay. So it's been a second since I've said some weird, ironic joke, so I think I need to think of something. But I don't got anything, so we're just going to keep going. So, Another aspect of kindness is how it's ultimate. It's the pinnacle. I used to know this man that would come to my family's house and spend time with the family and help out. Now, the man was exceedingly kind towards everyone in the house, and even though I didn't personally know him too well, I liked him for his kindness and joy and accessibility. After I hadn't seen him in a while, I thought about him one day, and his appearance came to mind. I thought nothing of it, and I believed he looked overall normal. Later on, I saw the man again and realized I was wrong about his appearance. He was a bit overweight and looked generally unkempt. After seeing this, I'd realized he'd always looked this way. People who really care and think about you don't care what you look like, they don't care how much you weigh, and they don't care how you dress. The only person putting importance on these things are ourselves. When someone is positively kind, it outweighs these insignificant things we spend whole days worrying about. Now, does this mean you should go find a dumpster, roll around in sewage, and eat your clothes? Probably not, but you do you. What it means is that ultimately, how you act dominates who you are. It's hard to believe this. We look in the mirror and think whatever we see is the most important thing, not only to us, but others. It's important to understand looks do not define us, but the choices we make towards others do. Okay, I want to bet at least one person fell asleep. But that's pretty much it. My points are over. I'm pretty sure you've heard all of this before. But I hope that hearing it from someone who's in the same situation as you will at least bring some weight with it. So please, as a graduating favor to me, at least consider one of the things I've said today, if you find yourself in the applicable situation. After all, it doesn't hurt. One last thing. I've gone to PRA for a very long time, and I'm scared they're going to kick me off stage after this, but I've heard a lot of complaints about this school, and I know you've all heard them too. So, why do we have a dress code? Why can't we leave for lunch? Why is the school so small? And my personal favorite that I have heard multiple times, why is everyone here such a loser? And it kind of hurts. But, however, I think there's an aspect of PRA we didn't mention. Some students could graduate from other schools and never think about anyone in their graduating class outside maybe their friend group ever again. I really don't think we're like that. Maybe it's just because we're so small, but I know that I'm going to think about every one of you at least once throughout the rest of my life. And I feel like y'all probably do the same. A lot of you, even if I don't know you super well, I grew up with. I'm not going to be cheesy and say we're a family, because we're definitely not a family. But all I want to say is that before you walk off this field today, keep in mind it's possible that you won't see some of us ever again. Please try to remember the experiences that we made together. I'm going to really miss each and every one of you, and I know the rest of your lives are only going to get better from here.